Good afternoon. I'm pleased to be here with Tim Potts to stand up for government that is responsive to the will of the people, not the demands of lobbyists and special interests. I'm running because my opponent, who is a nice guy, votes nasty in Harrisburg. After 16 years in office, he has run off the rails with his radical voting record. Republicans, Democrats, and independents alike are calling for a change. No matter what my opponent says, it is how he votes on legislation that determines how we are being represented in Harrisburg. Let me support that with some facts. 69% of Pennsylvanians support local government being involved in the placement of natural gas rigs in our communities. Yet my opponent led the fight in the House of Representatives for Act 13, which took away local control of fracking. That provision was called irrational by the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania and declared unconstitutional. This is what passes for lawmaking. This is what passes for lawmaking in today's state legislature. Act 13 also levied the lowest natural gas fees in the nation, saving millions of dollars for the gas companies, from whom my opponent has taken thousands of dollars in donations. Polls show also that 76% of Pennsylvanians oppose reducing funding for local school districts as a way to balance the state budget. And yet my opponent voted for Governor Corbett's budget cuts that resulted in 14,000 school jobs lost last year and higher property taxes in the Bellefonte, State College, and Penns Valley school districts. All this while giving away millions to the gas drilling companies. This is what passes for agenda priorities in today's state legislature. My opponent also co-sponsored proposed legislation to force expensive, invasive ultrasound exams on women considering terminating pregnancy. This is the notorious proposal that Governor Tom Corbett approved, saying women who don't like it can close their eyes. We need someone in Harrisburg who will stand up to Governor Corbett, not roll over on these offensive proposals. Also, 72% of Pennsylvanians polled by the respected political analyst Terry Madonna of Franklin and Marshall University support reforming the way legislative districts are created. And yet, in December of 2011, my opponent voted for what Madonna called the worst gerrymander in modern Pennsylvania history. When politicians create safe, one-party electoral districts, they no longer have to pay attention to their voters. Instead, they can pay attention to their funders. This is why lobbyists write our laws. Gerrymandering also promotes candidates on both extremes, like my opponent, while making it harder for moderate, problem-solving candidates such as myself to prevail. It is the root cause for much of the partisan divisiveness and the legislative gridlock we see today in the Capitol. If I go to Harrisburg, if I am elected on November 6th, it will be with a passion to end gerrymandering, or carrymandering as we call it here in the 171st District, since he voted for it. The record is crystal clear. Our current representative in Harrisburg can best be characterized as our misrepresentative in Harrisburg because he misrepresents our values and interests on so many issues. Republicans, Democrats, and independents alike have a right to vote with a clear conscience for the moderate alternative to this radical voting record. If I go to Harrisburg, it will be to govern from the middle, not to debate our idea versus their idea, but to look together at an idea and develop shared meaning about the advantages and disadvantages so that we can solve problems and not score political points. That way, the winner will be the people of Pennsylvania and not some party agenda. It is in this spirit that I challenge my opponent not to a debate, but to a dialogue in which we can discuss together his voting record and give him a chance to explain his votes, cutting funding for education, interfering in women's private medical decisions, creating safe one-party districts, and taking away local control of fracking in Pennsylvania. The people of the 171st District, from Bellefonte to Boalsburg, from Millheim to Milroy, deserve that much. For the facts and details about these topics, please go to my campaign website at ChristopherLeeForStateRep.org. Thank you very much, and thank you, Tim Potts.